Fundamentals of forces and impulses, intensity and speed of execution. Friends, today I would like to expose an important physical foundation, which despite having been exposed on several occasions, since 1992 in my cosmic model, seems to continue to go unnoticed, and yet I understand that its study and development is of utmost importance. What's more, the famous relativity founders and produces many distortions and false results due to not taking these physical foundations into account. I am referring to the two foundations or components of all force, either as a vector or as a force field. These parameters are the intensity of the force, I, and the speed of execution of the force, v. And therefore, the resulting force would be the product of these component parameters, that is, force equal to intensity multiplied to the speed of execution. F equals I by v. And therefore here appears one of the unstudied foundations of forces, and whose principle we could express as: there are no instantaneous forces, but they all have a speed of development or application. And therefore this speed of execution enters into the adjustment of the total value of the force. And of course, they also have an intensity, I, or application potential, whether in force vectors or force fields. As an example, I have given the drawing of the billiard ball and its speed on the board, but there are multiple examples, even clearer and more forceful. But to see it better, we will use a primary and widely distributed cosmic element, the force of gravity. If we take two examples such as the Earth and the Moon, we quickly notice that in both there is a force of attraction called gravity, and that it has the same name for the two astros. And we immediately ask ourselves, well, if they are the same force, where is the difference between both potentials of attraction? Well, in the intensity, I, of fields of both forces. And if they are called the same, gravity, but have different potentials, where is the equality? Well, in the speed, v, of execution of the force of gravity, that is equal in both cases. That is, gravity is a form, consequence and manifestation of cosmic energy, which manifests itself as lines and fields of force whose execution speed is c, that is, the well-known 300,000 kilometers per second. But digging a little, we would wonder where that speed of execution comes from, which is a somewhat primitive and profound topic that cannot be fully explained here, but we can give a brief answer. The speed c is the union constant of the space to universal motion, when cosmic energy is created in the universe or cosmos. But continuing a little with the explanation of the force of gravity, as a performance of cosmic energy, we have seen that gravity always has the speed constant of execution c, however its intensity, I, depends on the amount of matter of the nucleus that produces these gravity fields. Now, hypothetically reaching a limit, as it could be in a supergiant star, where its speed of execution of the gravitational force would have reached the maximum v equals c. Therefore in this case there would be no increase in speed, and no could accelerate any matter that was being attracted more. That is, there is no acceleration because there is no increase in speed. We can also see it with the example of the river and a piece of wood thrown over it. If we throw a large tree trunk into the river, at first the speed of the water is greater than that of the wooden trunk, and it can accelerate it. But when wood gains the speed of water, it no longer accelerates or receives additional force or momentum. But since I've talked about relativity and its failure to apply these fundamentals of forces, intensity by velocity, let's use this to explain a little more. Einstein thought that if we apply a force indefinitely to an object, and since it does not exceed the speed of light, then this would mean that the impulse or force applied would be transformed into mass, inertial. And this is not the case, but rather the impulse applied in this extreme case would simply not exist. Since there is no possible increase in speed, there is also no acceleration, and therefore there is no force applied to the object, that is, force equals mass multiplied by acceleration equals 0. Since there is no increase in speed and therefore no acceleration, due to the speed of the object v is equal to the speed of execution of the force c, and the result is that we are not applying any amount of force to the object. Force equals mass multiplied by 0, acceleration equals 0. These characteristics of the forces, intensity 1, and speed of execution v, can be observed throughout the cosmos in multiple circumstances that are more or less clear for their observation, such as in fluids, electrical circuits, and above all machines and mechanical devices such as in the lever law. However, my favorite is the one I put in the drawing, that is, the car's gearbox. In it we will be able to study the changes from intensity to speed and vice versa and easily understand these basic components of forces. Well friends, that's all for this summary. Thank you for your time.